Toto. I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 Oscar-winning movies that bombed at the box office.
Hey man, I travel on a pogo stick if I thought we could make more money.
For this list, we'll be looking at the most notable Academy Award recipients that didn't quite connect with audiences in their initial release. Which of these box office bombs surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. Number 10, West Side Story.
Boy, crazy boy, stay loose, boy. Breeze it, buzz it, easy does it. Turn off the juice, boy.
Pairing Steven Spielberg with a beloved musical should have been a slam dunk. And it was, at least in terms of industry recognition. In fact, West Side Story danced all the way to 7 Oscar nominations, and even a win for Ariana DeBose's star-making turn as Anita.
A boy like that wants one thing only, and when he's done, he'll leave you lonely. He'll murder your love, he murdered mine. Just wait and see, just wait, Maria, just wait and see.
However, the box office receipts tell a very different story. Audiences gave the movie a massive shrug on its opening weekend, and it failed to leg out even over the lucrative Christmas season. By the time all was said and done, West Side Story's meager returns couldn't even cover its production costs. It still took home some gold, just not the kind that helps Spielberg's wallet.
We'll get work when we get there. We'll pay you back every cent.
Number 9, The Wolfman. Period horror and negative reviews don't exactly yell Oscar winner. At least that's what audiences thought. So despite a flashy, effects-driven marketing campaign, 2010's The Wolfman was a complete flop at the box office.
I get your implication and resent it. You're clearly aware of my personal history, as I believe I am aware of yours.
Given that its budget was $150 million, it seemed the movie was destined to go down as one of the biggest failures of the 21st century. But just when the prognosis was at its worst, a surprise Oscar win for Best Makeup saved The Wolfman from complete embarrassment. No, it doesn't reimburse the studio for the millions of dollars they lost. But if Universal Pictures can't dry their tears with cash, an Academy Award is the next best thing.
I wish things were different.
Never look back, Lawrence. Never look back. The past is a wilderness of horrors.
Number 8, What Dreams May Come. Named after Hamlet's famous soliloquy, this film asked a very simple question: to be or not to be? The answer, however, is a bit complicated.
You don't understand how this works. It's not about understanding.
It's about not giving up.
On one hand, the movie's acclaimed VFX earned it plenty of buzz and an Academy Award for Best Visual Effects. But all that CGI came with a heavy price tag. And unfortunately, both critics and audiences agreed that the film played more like a feature-length VFX reel.
Sometimes when you win, you lose.
So amidst middling reviews and lackluster fan reception, What Dreams May Come failed to recoup its expensive investment in theaters. Despite the Oscar win, it's clear that audiences thought this one was not to be.
I apologize for every time I failed you. Especially this one.
Number 7, Ed Wood.
Mr. Reynolds? Yeah. We are going to finish this picture just the way I want it, because you cannot compromise an artist's vision.
But it's our money.
And you're going to make a bundle, but only if you shut up and let me do things my way.
In a way, the Academy Awards is a roundabout method for Hollywood to pat itself on the back. So it's no surprise that a movie based on an infamous filmmaker took home 2 major trophies at the 67th Oscars ceremony. However, just because Hollywood loved Ed Wood, the movie, doesn't mean audiences felt the same.
But you're a big star.
No more. I haven't worked in 40 years. This business, this town, it chews you up, then spits you out.
Even though the film had a modest budget of just $18 million, it failed to amass even half of that at the domestic box office. You can point the finger at its comparatively limited release, but that doesn't change the fact that a film with this much acclaim should have done much, much better.
Well, Eddie, how'd we do?
We didn't make a nickel.
Number 6, Almost Famous. Coincidentally, this film's title pretty much sums up the fate of its initial release.
Rock and roll is a lifestyle and a way of thinking, and it's not about money and popularity, although some money would be nice.
After premiering at the Toronto International Film Festival, Almost Famous drew unanimous praise for its humor, performances, and heartfelt story. Then it coasted on the glowing reviews all the way to an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay. But despite its clear artistic merits, the low-stakes story failed to convince audiences it was a theater-worthy experience. So even when including international grosses, Almost Famous was a complete financial train wreck.
Okay, your damages will put you way in the hole for this tour. Right now, you owe the record company more than you got.
At the very least, audiences did end up discovering it eventually. Nowadays, it's rightfully considered one of the best films of the 2000s.
I have to go home.
Count the headlights on the highway. You are home.
Number 5. Blade Runner 2049.
Yes. No.
I know what's real.
At a time when reboots were all the craze, bringing Harrison Ford back in one of his most iconic roles sounded like an easy win. And from a craft perspective, this long-awaited sequel completely exceeded expectations.
They all think it's about more detail, but that's not how memory works. You recall with our feelings. Anything real should be a mess.
While the original was well-reviewed, 2049 ended up with more Oscar nominations and even took home 2. Alas, despite rave reviews, Blade Runner 2049 failed to deliver the popcorn entertainment that viewers clearly wanted. Since the sci-fi epic was a very costly production too, it's been estimated that the low audience turnout ended up costing investors as much as $80 million.
Win some money, lose some money. I made money seem like candy.
Blade Runner 2049 may be an Oscar darling, but it's also an unmitigated bomb at the same time. Number 4. Hugo.
We could get into trouble. That's how you know it's an adventure.
Most awards films would kill for a final box office tally in the low 9-figure range. But since Hugo cost upwards of $150 million to make, it needed to do a whole lot better than that to break even.
Maybe that's why broken machines make me so sad. They can't do what they're meant to do. Maybe it's the same with people. If you lose your purpose, it's like you're broken.
It's still something of a mystery as to why audiences rejected Martin Scorsese's family film. After all, it was a total awards juggernaut, earning a staggering 11 Oscar nominations and 5 wins. It clearly wasn't a matter of quality. Rather, many presume that stiff competition over the holiday frame slashed its box office prospects. That, when paired with its expensive 3D visuals, meant Hugo never got the chance it deserved.
It's all gone now. Everything I ever made. Nothing but ashes and fading strips of celluloid.
Number 3. It's a Wonderful Life. Despite its name, this classic Christmas film's release wasn't anywhere near wonderful.
Well, hello, Mr. Bank Examiner. How are you? Mr. Bailey, there's a deficit. I know, $8,000.
George, I've got a little paper.
I'll bet it's a warrant for my arrest. Isn't it wonderful? I'm going to jail.
The studio clearly had big hopes for the movie and mounted a massive promotional blitz for its awards campaign. Unfortunately, due to a strong slate of competitors, It's a Wonderful Life only walked away with a Technical Achievement Oscar. Alas, there was no Christmas miracle to save its profits either.
Old man Potter will pay 50 cents on the dollar for every share you got.
50 cents on the dollar?
Yes, cash.
Well, what do you say?
No, Tom, you have to stick to your original agreement. Now, give us 60 days on this.
Okay, Randall.
Are you going to Potter's?
Better to get half than nothing.
In its initial theatrical run, It's a Wonderful Life barely earned back half of what it needed to make it into the black. Thankfully, when it entered public domain in 1974, the film's royalty-free broadcasts earned it a deserved legacy as one of the greatest movies of all time.
To my big brother George, the richest man in town.
Number 2. The Wizard of Oz.
You're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. You'll find he is a wizard, a whiz, if ever a whiz there was.
Dorothy's Trek on the Yellow Brick Road is one of the most popular films ever made, but it sure didn't start out that way. Its groundbreaking use of Technicolor and special effects meant it needed a big audience turnout to come away with any cash. Unfortunately, despite an Academy Award for Best Original Song, The Wizard of Oz failed to enchant viewers at first. It took a re-release a decade later for the film to finally see its first profits. From there, home video sales and licensing fees turned the flop into a bona fide classic. Even though it didn't seem so at first, it's obvious that Oz was worth visiting after all.
And you're all here, and I'm not going to leave here ever, ever again, because I love you all. And, oh, Auntie Em, there's no place like home.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. The Young Victoria. The immaculate costumes weren't enough to save this period piece.
I will not have my role usurped. I wear the crown, and if there are mistakes, they will be my mistakes, and no one else will make them. No one, not even you.
Girl Interrupted. Even with its amazing performances, this drama was criminally overlooked upon release.
Try to give you everything you want.
No, you don't.
You wanted your file, I found you your file. You wanted out, I got you out. You needed money, I found you some.
Phantom Thread. The Academy loved this movie, but audiences yawned through it.
Are you a special agent sent here to ruin my evening and possibly my entire
Why
life?
are you so rude to me? Why are you talking to me
Is this
like
my
this?
house? This is my house,
Yes,
isn't
this
it?
is your
this
house.
my house?
The Age of Innocence. Despite its excellent reviews, moviegoers were oddly muted about this historical drama.
You gave me my first glimpse of a real life, and then you told me to carry on with a false one. No one can endure that.
I'm enduring it.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Citizen Kane. It's a sad reality that sometimes good films fail and bad ones succeed. But there's truly no reason why Citizen Kane should have lost money at the box office.
You're right, Mr. Thatcher. I did lose $1 million last year. I expect to lose $1 million this year. I expect to lose $1 million next year.
While no one could have foreseen its influence on cinema, its Oscar win should have at least earned it some respect. Unfortunately, the film faced heavy controversy for its commentary on contemporary media tycoons.
Charlie, you got other things to think about. Your little boy. You don't want him to read about you in the papers.
There's only one person in the world to decide what I'm going to do, and that's me.
Allegedly, some theater chains even refused to screen Citizen Kane for fear of backlash. So, shamefully, most audiences never gave it a fair shake. The only small justice is that its enduring acclaim turned Citizen Kane from a box office bomb into a legendary staple of film history.
I think I did pretty well under the circumstances. What would you like to have been? Everything you hate.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.